am I going to say no to them, but only say yes to the ones that are in the proximity where it makes sense?
Well, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But one thing you can add, and this is what currently John and you guys are changing the zoning ordinance. I mean, every week we come up with hey, we need to do this, we need to do this. When somebody presents something, it's grandfathered in. You can't spot zone. You can't change the zone. After this, at the next meeting, you can present to the board, restrict it down, get rid of the 20,000, make it 10 acres, do whatever you want to ensure the restriction. You can't penalize him for coming first, but you can head it off. And I'm not asking you to change the density. I just need you to be open about accepting the sewer.
Let's define penalize. I don't think anybody's penalizing. We don't have the
No,
qualifications. It's
Yeah.
not qualified. We have to make an exception. Okay, thank you. Make sure everybody knows that. Nobody's being penalized.
We can change the zoning ordinance.
Good deal.
We can really strengthen the zoning ordinance, and I think the mayor, spoke to John
Right.
about it. Right now, I have a copy of this on Word doc. I'm going through and looking at some of the changes that been made and updating it. And then Jordan's going to get it. He's going to do some things like what was the one in Springfield, the cryptocurrency buildings, and some other things like that. He's going to add those in, and then this board needs to say, hey, do we want to strengthen this zoning? We want to make it where it's 30,000 across the board, no ifs, ands. It's got to be 10 acres, maximum of 50 acres. So if somebody doesn't buy 150 acres and try to make a big, and leave the rest of it farm.
Right.
I mean, so at the upcoming planning commission meetings, we really need to, and we don't have to piecemeal it as much as if we rewrite this with the changes, with his changes, with your changes, and then the BMA can then it'll say adopted September 2025, and that's what we'll go forward with.
Right.
Kind of take the loopholes and innuendos out of it and go forward with that. And this board is the one that recommends those changes to the Board of Mayor and Alderman. So
for the public,
don't forget Don.
information where the planning commission is going through the rules and stuff like that. It's a long, drawn-out process, and we've been working on that now for more than a year, and it'll probably take another year to get through all the regulations and what the ramification of any change is or not changes. So the board's working on it and doing that, and before anything's passed, there'll be a public hearing on any changes that we make or ask to be made. Okay. Board, more comments?
I do. So the current septic that's there is already in use by another property, right?
Yes.
So if we allow the square footage to be used on this property down here, is it going to take away from this current property using that? Is it going to make that non-conforming because that area was used for those lots?
The system he has is a freestanding. It'll become a private utility to be able to utilize the utility easements and stuff like it. It has to become a private utility owned by the HOA. He's using very little of the capacity now, and it is expandable for a lot.
So it would make those current buildings non-conforming on that current lot?
They're fine, yeah, because it's a central sewer system. It's private. It's like having a municipal sewer, but it's privately owned.
Yeah. So then is anybody that's going to connect on that going to try to use that space as green space to be able to accommodate the square footage? If we're trying to make that exception? What
Well, when you change rule 2, no, because the HOA, this subdivision actually owns that property, that system that the property's on. It's theirs, unless at some point down the road the town upgrades it and purchases it for the use as a municipal septic system for other properties. Restaurant, town center, commercial property. It's commercial. It's really, this residential unit may be the one that's associated with the town center would be the only residential. It's just not going to be big enough to handle everybody in that area. But you have to have the capacity, a large capacity volume, bigger bigger than a standard septic system for any kind of restaurant or grocery store or something like that.
Board? Any board? Okay. We'll go to the public, and the only way I know how to do this, we'll start by rows, and we'll go right down the rows and give everybody an opportunity, and Dawn, I told you, you be first.
Oh, no, he said I can build another house on my property. I got almost 3 acres. I could, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I was thinking.
Bill, I missed you.
Okay, the only comment I've got is I heard talking about non-contiguous property, and somebody said they'd never seen a surveyor do something like this. I just had a survey done on 3 parcels on Light Think Road, and some of my parcel is lakeside, and it actually goes, the borders are out in the lake. And I believe on the tax rolls, it was, before I changed it, it was taxed at 3.47 acres, which was the one property that I lived on. And that is what is in the lake also. So parcel, part of this that they didn't want to consider because it was below the 813 or 820 or something. But
Okay. Paul?
So, he was talking about, septic systems over there.
Yes, sir.
So, the actual end result of the septic system is not gonna be on that property, it's gonna be on the separate property, correct?
Yes, it is pumped to that property, yes.
So, I'm sure the state will have to get involved with that.
Oh, yeah.
And, but my other question is the boundaries with the 820. You have to stay so far off that 820 mark.
Correct. You cannot build any permanent structure.
And if I'm not mistaken, you have to be 25 feet off that
No,
mark.
you can build down to,
Pardon?
you can build down to the actual 820 line.
And so there's actually going to be like a sewer system that's going to collect all of the sewer in there and go to a designated point to where it's pumped out.
Now, I imagine each individual house will probably have a, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a gallon.
they'll have to have a pump station, they'll have E1 grinders on each
Yeah,
one,
each
and
one.
then go down to Louisville Road, and then it'll have to get pumped all the way up, because the
2 inch
drip
line
system
pressurized.
is above the road system and the lot, so they'll have to do another one, then they'll have to pump it up.
They use
This won't be
pressure
grinder
system,
system,
for
right?
instance.
So
It'll cut
it would have to be a substantial pump
to the pump.
Not really.
to push it that far and up on that property.
I actually had one in a house, they're not much more than this, a lot. It's a grinder pump, it's a low pressure system. And it's generally a pretty level, the grinder pump ensures that it's liquefied. And then it's pumped to the process.
There's different ways of doing it. It may not be a grinder, it may be a lift, he may be able to do gravity down to a lift station, but there'll be some type of pump to get it up there and get it to the elevation.
So the question
Can I answer that? This is questions about the drip too. Each house will have an individual septic tank which collects solids. It'll have a 1/2 horsepower pump that puts into the line. And the failure rate on those is about, from the guy from Specialized Operating System, it's about 0.5% on the failure. So you're pumping gray water only in a 2-inch line, low pressure line, back to the sewer treatment plant.
And so
Excuse me, is that a pep tank? Or a septic tank? Is that like called pep tank?
It's a septic tank.
Okay.
after these units are built, and all this will be turned over to the HOA to take care of.
The properties itself, yes, that's correct.
And how many acres are we looking at dumping this water on?
Plus the industrial park and any restaurant and anything else that goes on there. That's my question too, is there truly enough
I mean,
for the drip system plus reserve
correct.
in this area for if the industrial park got built out the rest of the way, plus restaurants or anything else that
And plus for
once
reserve.
we add on to it? saying.
I mean, currently, we're utilizing 300 gallons a day, 280 to 300 gallons a day. And the capacity is 4,500 gallons. Expand that system to 15,000 gallons, basically, very easily. But we're not using very much capacity at all. I mean, we're using current capacity, you're probably using more in your house, or as much in your house as is being used on that system right now per day.
But it's the potential of the future.
Yeah.
That is a concern to the citizens, not only just the septic system, but it's also allowing the septic system to go 2,200 feet away from the property that's being used, because we tried to do the same thing, we were denied being able to put sewer. We should have, now knowing this, we could have bought property somewhere else and put sewer system somewhere else and been able to do what we did. Plus, you said 260 square feet is what he has?
260,000,
Well, on the drawing it says 5.4.
that's acres.
Right, 5.4 acres.
Multiplied by 43,
560.
560. You also have a small parcel on the other side.
235,000 acres.
There's a small parcel on the other side.
Yeah, but that's not you. I mean, it's,
It's still part of the parcel.
so you can use, that's what I'm at, so you
It's on the
can,
other side of the road, yes, but it's part of the parcel, yes.
but is that gonna be part of the HOA as well and everything? And so you can use any property, even if it's divided by a state right of way, towards this density.
If it's divided, if it's a continuous parcel divided by the state, wow.
But it's not, it's divided.
It's the same.
It's a
I
single
mean, I
tract.
know what you're trying to do over there, you're trying to put that mobile home beside that little house over on, is that what you were talking about?
Absolutely does not. Has nothing to do with this.
You got denied, that's the reason you got denied for
We
it.
live in that code.
We live in the code.
We don't want the beauty
Oh,
or
okay, I
pristine
thought I got you mixed up with somebody else.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Let them address them both.
I'm sorry.
yeah. So we live in that, in there. We don't want a bunch of rentals in there, because if this gets turned over, we didn't see any lot lines laid out. Are these gonna be sold individually, are they gonna be rented out, are there gonna be extra docks put on there? So the traffic's already bad where our property is being diminished, because everybody comes around the curve, flying, all fishermen and everything else, which I love to see, because
Shallow go.
yeah, it's a shallow cove, lots of wildlife.
Changing the
We're gonna introduce even more boat traffic, it's gonna kind of degrade the environment and the beauty, which is what your, 11.410 says that you're trying to do, is preserve the aesthetics, qualities, and protections of the property. So, I don't know, I mean, and you, like I said, this septic system is 2,200 feet away. If one thing fails, there's gonna have to be pumps, because the total dynamic head from that low of a piece of property up to the drip system, there's gonna have to be several pumps, which will have to be worked out. Because he's gonna have to go through private ways and private property, all that stuff to get this done. So TDOT's gonna be involved to be able to allow a private system to be